About last night. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great day to be an American. It's a great day to be a Republican. Maybe not such a wonderful day to be an America hating Democrat after that horrific display by the other side of the aisle last night. But we're going to focus on all the good, some of the bad, a lot of the ugly on the other side of the aisle. It all starts right now. I've got Brandon Tatum joining me with live, unfiltered, raw reaction. Starts right now.
I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. And we've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. To unshackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated. And I have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back. We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer. I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
Wow. Some forget that it's only been a little over 40 days that President Trump has been in office, but a list of accomplishments a mile long. A lot of standing and applause from the Republican side of the aisle. Some of the Democrats look like they could have used the extra cardio, but sadly, they refused to join in on the celebration, even though early on in his speech, President Trump invited them to join in on the celebration of the golden age of America and making it great once again. There is so much to talk about. Joining me now is the Officer Tatum Show host, Brandon Tatum. Brandon, I've got so much to talk to you about. I want to start with just your hot take reaction to what you saw on the left and the right last night.
Well, thank you, Tommy, for having me on. It was incredible. It was an incredible speech. I was inspired. I asked my audience, I was broadcasting it live, if they thought it was going to be an angry speech, Donald Trump being vindictive, or was he going to be unifying? And I think that objectively, Donald Trump said a lot of inspiring things that people in America should be proud of. He challenged a lot of what the Democrats had done, which are all truthful. And then he honored a lot of people that deserve some respect and attention that he invited, whether it's a parent who lost their child, a parent or a wife who lost her husband, who was a police officer, or the young man who was an honorary police officer. And then he was also honorary as a Secret Service member, awarded that right there on the spot. And Democrats couldn't even stand up to give a round of applause of a cancer surviving young man. I think he still has cancer, but they only gave him like 5 months to live, and that was years ago. How can you not stand up for that? How can you not stand up that we're doing an investigation into the government and they're spending our money like they're at a strip club? How do they not stand up and celebrate with us in things that are going positively for our country? So the Republicans, I think, fared pretty well. Donald Trump had a good speech, and the Democrats looked like a bunch of nut jobs.
They certainly did. Right off the bat, we had Al Green. He just had to get his little moment in there, shaking his cane. The antics, I mean, with the paddles, with the Democrats wearing pink, even though they failed to vote to protect women's sports and spaces just a night earlier. I mean, it was just the seating, not standing for very simple moments that were bipartisan, that were just human moments. You brought up DJ Daniel, the 13-year-old boy who is a survivor of brain cancer, who was so excited to become a Secret Service agent. It melted all of our hearts. I'll probably play that one in a little bit. But I don't understand, Brandon. There's one thing if you want to resist President Trump. I didn't expect them to celebrate or applaud for securing the border or cutting government waste. I didn't expect it. I expected them to maybe applaud for the fact that we've now captured the terrorist that was involved in the death of 13 service members and that horrific withdrawal in Afghanistan. I expected them to maybe just acknowledge the family of Lake and Riley. There were just simple moments. There were just easy layups for them. And they said, you know what? We don't even want to go there. I think the Democrat Party today is the lowest it's been in my lifetime. What's your take?
1,000%. I don't know if anybody's going to ever vote for them ever again. I mean, it was just atrocious and embarrassing. All they did was, try to yell over him at the beginning. Since it didn't work, they had to stop that. And then Al Green with his perm hair. I want to say something else, but I'm trying to be a good Christian today. Al Green, he's doing his shenanigans. He gets kicked out. And then they had a little corny signs up. False, not true. Man, the American people are sick of that crap. Donald Trump won by a landslide because they sick of the crap. When he started talking about how they're spending money on transitioning frogs and stuff, how is it that the Democrats are sitting down and not clapping for that we're getting rid of the wasteful spending? And even Lake and Riley's family, even the family of the young lady whose 12-year-old got brutally murdered by an illegal alien. I mean, it wasn't even a partisan thing. It's that Donald Trump named the animal sanctuary in her daughter's honor. You can at least sit in your chair and clap. But because they're foolish, stupid, ignorant little kids, and they don't have any kind of decorum, they don't have any kind of foresight, they are going to lose every election from here on out. I hope to God, because I think, Tommy, that most people in America are not silly. They can see clear as the noonday sun. And Donald Trump pointed it out that there's nothing he can say, nothing he can do to make these people happy. And they showed it in front of the world that they won't celebrate victories. They won't celebrate young people. They won't celebrate even the young man that got killed at the Trump rally. I don't want to mess his name up, but he was killed. He was a former firefighter, dedicated his life to serving his community. Seems like a wonderful father. His 2 daughters were there. He got killed at a rally from a nut job that tried to assassinate Trump. And they can't even clap for that. I think the American people can see right through these people.
I would certainly hope so. President Trump did something brilliant right at the start of his speech. You alluded to it, and so did I, challenging them, saying, celebrate along with me. But hey, listen, this is my 5th one of these. I know you're not going to celebrate. I know you're not going to applaud. I know you're going to sit in your chairs. And he really called them out before they even had a chance to act ridiculous. And then, in that moment, they could have switched gears if they were smart enough and intuitive enough. They could have been like, you know what? He's already laying it out that we're going to look really bad. Maybe we can switch gears and try to look less bad. And they're like, no, let's go full bad. It's just so embarrassing. You brought up, the 13-year-old survivor of cancer, most beautiful moment of the night for me. And then we knew how mainstream media was going to react. Again, a new low. This is Nicole Wallace on MSNBC talking about that young man. This is a new low for cable news. Take a look at this if you haven't seen it.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
Brandon, it started off okay. I was hopeful. And then she went right down in the gutter. I mean, I'm stunned that she's still on that network.
Tommy, I thought you picked the wrong clip at first. I said, she said something amazing. Oh my goodness, this was a great clip. Oh, she acknowledged this young man's, everybody's desire for him to have a beautiful life that he deserves. It's unfortunate that he had cancer, not out of his control. What a horrible thing for a young man to go through. What a horrible thing for a father to have to go through with his son. But this was a moment of absolute beauty. I almost cried. I'm being honest. Like, I was like, come on, Trump. I mean, every single time he announces somebody, I'm about to cry. And this dirtbag decides to bring up a stupid fake story of people committing suicide after January 6th. And that has nothing to do. The Capitol, it wasn't that serious. I don't understand why nobody died at the Capitol stuff except Ashley Babbitt, which was a person on our side. It was a scuffle. It was some punches being thrown, some people getting injured, but it wasn't 9/11. It wasn't so traumatic that people had to go and off themselves on the weekend and they getting killed by these protesters. It's all bull shenanigans. These people should be ashamed of themselves. They said nothing in the summer of love when cops were getting killed, where people were getting killed in the street, buildings are being burnt down. What about that? I don't want to blow up on your show, but my God, these people are evil. And I always wonder, dang, a loving God, who would go to hell? And I feel like people like this are probably one of the groups of people that are going to go to hell for what they're doing. It is insane that they turn such a beautiful story into such a mockery and tragedy that didn't even really exist. And they do it to cause division and hatred and dissent in this country when we should be living great, Tommy. We all should be excited about what's happening in this country. We all should be uniting on principles that founded this country and moving forward in the right direction. Instead, these devils, they have Trump derangement syndrome. They hate America. They hate the Constitution. They hate anything that Donald Trump is touching. And it bothers me, as you could tell.
Yeah, it bothers me too. It doesn't surprise me. It does surprise me because I would think they would have enough media training to at least feign basic decency. I think that many of them are at their core evil, or they've been turned evil because of their hatred of Donald Trump has so corroded their insides that they have gone that way. But I thought maybe they just have the decency to gloss over that just to spare themselves the embarrassment of looking the way they did. And I'm talking about those in the media and the Democrats that were sitting in the room. But no, I don't know where the Democrat Party goes from here. I really don't, Brandon. Not that I really care, but I don't know where they go. I mean, what do you do today when your party is in shambles? You walked in shambles. Your moment did not land. It landed like a lead balloon with the paddles and then them just walking out. I don't even know where they head next. The Senator Slotkin, her response, I don't know if you even stayed up to watch it. You didn't need melatonin after it because it'll put you right to sleep. It was so boring. So on the one side of Democrats, you've got ratchetry with Jasmine Crockett and Al Green and others. And then on the other side, the moderate side, you've got bored to tears. That's not a good place to be in.
Well, I can tell you where the Democrat Party is headed, and I just want to let you know it's hot down there, wherever that's at, all right? So people can take it where they want from it. But in all actuality, I think that legitimately, if Republicans don't fumble the bag, we will win election we will have office for the next 12 years, because the Democrats have no mission and method, or they have no mission for the American people. They screwed us over. And they still are not acknowledging that they screwed us over. They're still acting like Joe Biden was just totally fine. He was a competent president. They still acting like the economy didn't just take a dump. Okay, they still acting like their stuff don't stink. They still acting like the American people want kids transitioning, and they want diversity, inclusion, and delusion in every single aspect of our lives. They still think that makes sense. And then not only do they think it makes sense, they think they're trying to tell you that you're stupid if you're seeing clean past this stuff. And so if Republicans don't fumble and they continue to preach what the American people want, Donald Trump continues to stand up for American values, even in front of the world, where what he did with Zelensky was one part of it. Telling these people, like, you better show America some respect and get your butt out of the White House. If they continue to do these things, and we continue to see the economy improve, we continue to see safety and common sense back in America, I think that we're going to win with Trump. We're going to win. J.D. Vance is going to have 2 terms. And unless Jesus Christ come down as a Democrat, they will never come back in office ever again. And I hope that's the case. I think we should have 20 years with no Democrat, and let's see where our country goes.
I'm hopeful. I feel like they're going to figure it out at some point, but maybe not. There was another moment with a young lady named Peyton McNabb who suffered a traumatic brain injury because she was clocked in the head with a volleyball served by a transgender. Okay. So when Democrats, I think it was great to have her there, but when Democrats say this is not that big of a problem, it's only a few, be inclusionary, it's not like it's hurting anybody, and then you have someone who literally has a brain injury because of this very thing that they're advocating for, and then they don't stand for her, they don't clap for her, they don't vote to protect women's sports. We knew Donald Trump was doing well with men. I think he won over women last night. I think women in America are disgusted with the Democrat Party. And I think all this wear pink for women's rights, it's Women's History Month. I think that, to your point, they fumbled the bag on the left so bad on this issue. I think they've lost women. What is your thought on the gender gap here?
Well, Tommy, I think they lost smart women. All right. There's still, unfortunately, some women that are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs running around still trying to be a feminist and advocating for men to take over their sports. But I think good women like you and my wife and others who got common sense that have, and many women who have children as well, that have children that see through this bull crap. They can see that the Democrat Party really don't care. They do not want to protect women. They wear pink to virtue signal, but when it's time to vote to protect women, they're nowhere to be found. When it's time for young women to be born, they're nowhere to be found. They don't want to advocate for anything that provides life if the Republican Party is for it. I mean, they literally hate everything the Republicans do. Trump can cure cancer. They will find a reason that cancer should be prevalent in the society. They lie to us in every aspect. But I'll tell you this, Tommy, because I think men and women are different in some ways, but I think that we all have good common sense from God. I think that people are just sick of the stupidity in our government. The fact that we still have red 40 and all of these chemicals in our food, and nobody has addressed it until right now. RFK had to come around the corner to address these issues. The fact that they blowing money like it's going out of state, they just setting our tax dollars on fire, and nobody has looked into it or cared into Donald Trump. The fact that these things are happening, both men and women with common sense are saying, we know who the corporates are, because also we look at the Fauci ouchie. We look at all these things that they've introduced while they suppressed free speech and all of these things. We can see it clearly now. And I think that men and women are going to change. To answer your question, I think that they are getting more people from the other side slowly but surely. Even black people are coming around the corner, thank God. And I think women are starting to move in that direction as well, because one thing you don't do when it comes to women is mess with kids. Mama Bear is going to show up every time.
Right. Well, there is one woman who really wants to be the face of the Democrat Party, and she put out a little video last night ahead of the joint session. We have just, we can talk over it because we can't play the music, but she wanted to do this performance. Then I also heard her in an interview, I believe it was after the joint session, where she said that, her people built this mother effer. She has to use swear words and she has to act like this. I know you do a lot of commentary on this. I don't know if this plays well for black women, but I would, if I were a black woman, I would be insulted by that kind of behavior of someone that's holding an office in United States Congress. What's your response to her antics?
Okay, I'm going to say it, Tommy, so nobody else have to say it. The people of the melanin are probably some of the most embarrassing people on planet Earth today. I cannot imagine a woman who claims to have a degree and to be smart and to represent her constituency is this silly and ghetto. What an embarrassment to black people. What an embarrassment to women. And I'm sick of it. I pray to God one day, I'm gonna turn into Martin Luther King on your show. I pray one day black people wake up. This is not cool. I don't see white people doing this. I mean, white people do corny stuff sometime. Okay, we get it. Everybody got their moments. But my God, you trying to be Kendrick Lamar in Congress? How about you do your doggone job? She is the dumbest, most ghetto woman in the entire Congress. And they think it's cool. They think it's sweet. They literally are getting outpaced by every group in America. I hate to say it, but the people of the melanin got to wake up. Come find Jesus. Because when it comes to abortion, they have more abortions than anybody else. When it comes to poverty, impoverished more than anybody else. When it comes to physical health and obesity in this country, they're more obese than anybody else. When it comes to murder, when it comes to violent crimes, when it comes to being dumb on voting, they're the most disgraceful group. And then not everybody, but as a group, somebody got to call it out. Tommy, I'll do it. They can call me a coon, Uncle Tom, all they want. Look at the numbers. While they sitting there dancing and trying to be Kendrick Lamar, who he only become famous because he dissed another black man, while they doing all that, Hispanic women are in front of them, white women. Let me put this out here, Tommy. They so silly that they crying and spitting in the streets, boycotting over DEI. And when you look at the research, DEI benefit white women more than any group in the country. And for some reason, after all that Martin Luther King did, after all our ancestors did, and we still silly. That's my take on it. I'll do your whole show talking about how disgraceful some of these people are, but I'll pass the mic back to you.
Well, I'll speak for my race. A lot of white Democrats doing a lot of embarrassing things too. Yesterday, that coordinated video that went out where they all said basically the same thing. It's like they're all reading off a script, doing a little video. There's a lot of corny things. Elizabeth Warren last night, Donald Trump just called her Pocahontas right to her face, and she was as corny as it gets. I mean, I don't think that there's anything worse. But I think the women of the Democrat Party are really failing the Democrat Party in so many ways. Not that the men aren't, they are as well. But I think that they are really failing their entire party. And I think more women are going to migrate over to the Republican Party that might have never done it before. Brandon, I only have a couple minutes left with you. So I want to get your take on what I think is also an important topic. People want prices to go down. We know Donald Trump's got to act on this pretty quickly because people are expecting immediate action. We know it doesn't work that way, but the markets are reacting to tariffs. People are a little concerned about that. What do you think that Donald Trump has to do in the coming weeks and months to make sure that the mandate from the American people is in fact fulfilled on the economy?
I think that Donald Trump got to be consistent in his messaging, right? I think right now he's saying the tariffs work. He's leveraging the tariffs to get momentum for the country. We're obviously in a crazy amount of crazy trade deficit, and Donald Trump got to be consistent. If at any point he back out of what he's saying and he start doing something different with the tariffs, he started not imposing tariffs like he said, that's what's going to hurt the American people more than the effects of the tariffs. I do believe that Donald Trump have a method to his madness, and I think imposing tariffs and making fair tariffs is going to make other countries think twice about what they're doing. It's going to create businesses in the United States of America that wouldn't normally be here because it costs too much to do it overseas. So I think Trump has a method, and he has to stay consistent with it. His messaging have to be there, and he cannot change course. He needs to stick with what he said, because I honestly believe if he stick by what he says, we're going to see benefits on the other end. And he needs to be consistent, and everybody that support Trump need to be consistent and let people know that this don't happen overnight. You don't go broke overnight, and you're not going to get rich overnight. But if you endure with the proper methods, we're going to start seeing things change. People should not be worried about the stock market, in my personal opinion. That thing go up and down like blood pressure. So, it's never going to just be all good. It's never going to be all bad. That's why you put your stocks in and you keep it over time, because when it go like this, eventually it's going to go up. So we shouldn't be worried about that and let the market dictate what the true message is. We should trust Donald Trump. He has 4 years to do what he say. At the end of the 4 years, if he don't accomplish the goals, we can criticize him. But until then, I think we're going to stick with what he's doing. He's a successful businessman. He got the richest man in the world in his corner. I'm pretty confident that we're going to get through this.
You're exactly right. He has to stay the course because I believe what he's doing is putting America first. And it might be initial pain, but it's going to be a long-term payoff that I believe is going to be a generational win and victory for the American people. Everything's America first. Brandon and I, you have to go and do your own show. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I'm so lucky to have had you on this day after the joint session address. God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, God bless you, Tommy. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Brandon. All right, guys, I'm just going to give you my little wrap up here, kind of going off of what Officer Tatum just said there. Everything that Donald Trump reiterated last night was America and Americans first. The fact that Democrats are not on board with that, that's their party's problem. They've got a messaging problem. They've got a messenger problem. They have a platform problem, an agenda problem. They don't even have policies that they want to advance or put forward. They just know that they hate Donald Trump. But for President Trump's part last night, everything that he talked about, from securing the border to securing investments in America to making sure other countries and nations pay their fair share, and that other nations come to the table and truly want lasting peace for their nations. Everything he discussed last night, everything he reiterated last night, his plans and his accomplishments 40-something days in, was all Americans first. We should celebrate that. You might not like all of his methods. You might not like the tariffs. You might not like the crackdown on criminal illegal aliens, though I don't know why. But you have to understand that President Trump is putting America and the American people first. Be patient. He's moving at lightning speed. Your egg prices are going to go down. We are dealing with a bird flu. Joe Biden authorized the killing of some chickens, and there's a lot that's going to go on there and get to the bottom of all that. I think our Egg Secretary, Brooke Rollins, will get to the bottom of it. Be patient. As Brandon Tatum said, this president has to stay the course. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got young, vibrant, energetic, and intelligent people around him that are going to carry out his agenda, not just for Republicans and Trump supporters, but for the American people. And if you don't believe him, just look at what he's done with our southern border. They said it could not be done. They said it took a bipartisan border bill. Joe Biden said he needed to have more agents, more this, more that. Well, newsflash for you. Our immigration laws have not changed since President Trump has been our president. He's done everything he's done through executive order and the power of the presidency. And he has secured and sealed that thing in about 30 to 40 days. Everything that Donald Trump is saying he can do, he can do. Give him the time, the grace, the patience, and cheer for America. It's really not that hard, Democrats. I know it's going to be a rough next 3.5, 4 years for you, but the rest of us are going to be enjoying America and Americans first. That does it for this very special joint session reaction show. I thank Brandon Tatum for taking the time with me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. I will be back right here at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with, of course, my losers of the week. And there are many, many to choose from. But until then, from Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.